writing what. And he hit me up on AOL Instant Messenger. And he's like, hey, and he sent me a picture of me that had been like viral on Tumblr. It was a picture of the De La Souls under my wedding dress because I'm divorced now, but I got married in the De Las.
That's crazy.
And so that picture like went Tumblr viral. So he's like, is this you? And I was like, yeah, that's me. And he was like, are you a writer? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you really like sneakers? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and you're a girl? And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, do you want to write for, or do you want to blog about sneakers like on Kicks on Fire or whatever? And I was like, what the hell is Kicks on Fire?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? And I was like, what is blogging? Like, I was like, what are you talking about? And so he showed me and I was like, yeah. And I'm like, and you're going to pay me?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I was like, you're going to pay me to do this? I do this shit for free with my friends, like every day.
Yeah.
I'm writing on MySpace and my little notes, So I'm like, yeah, I do this like for free every day. Like, absolutely. You want me to research the sneakers coming out and write about them on the internet? Got you. Yeah.
What's good, everyone? Welcome back to My First Kicks. This is episode 244, and this week we got an absolute legend, long time coming. Welcome to the podcast, Jazerai Allen-Lord.
Thank you, guys.
That one, just that one.
Okay, hi, guys. Like there's like 50 cameras in here.
I know, yeah. I don't pay for the other two.
Okay, this is the one we pay for. Hi.
One day, yeah. Welcome to the podcast. This is a long time coming. I mean, remember, I was telling you earlier, texting you earlier, I remember the first time I reached out to you when I first started the podcast, I had Don Will on.
Yeah.
And Don Will's, you should have Jazerai on. And so I messaged you and you told me no, but it wasn't, and this is where I'm going to give you 100% of the credit. This is where the first time I got a no and I realized like it's okay to accept no's. And so a lot of people, and this is what Premium Pete told me too, it's just like, you will get no's, but like it's all about following up and seeing how, because you got to show the progression, and that consistency and that persistence. And I think like like hitting you up and you telling me, and I was just like, all right, I got this. Don't worry, we gonna make this happen eventually.
Yeah, because it's when I think maybe I don't know if this happens to you, but like hundreds of people are like in the DMs and they're like, look at my T-shirt, listen to my single, like check out my podcast. Can you be on the podcast? And it's like, okay, if you just I don't really know you, so let me just sit back and observe. So I'm a real big like, let me just fall back for a minute. And so then I started seeing you outside, and like I've told everybody, like you really put in the work. Like I've seen you at BFF events and at other events, and just like introducing yourself to people and making yourself accessible. And other people in the industry know about your podcast too. Like, and I was like, okay, he's been doing the work. Like
really?
I will, yeah.
That's
and I was
crazy.
like, okay, I'll sit down with him. So here we are.
Yeah, it's I mean, huge honor. Like I can't even. I want to do a stream of just like, oh my gods, but like you told me to watch. What's the name of the show that was on Roku?
You Ain't Got These.
You Ain't Got These, and just first off, if you haven't watched it, please make sure you watch it. Like I felt so much emotion watching. I mean, I ugly cry like 10 times on that show, but I cry when I watch it back because it's such a different time of my life. And life was very different before everybody around the world really knows who you are. And like, they think of you like, oh, she has a shoe. It's a very different experience. So it feels very tender when I watch it back, and very like, okay, it reminds me of like where I came from, even though it was so far in. By the time to my career, it makes me feel like more the very beginning. Yeah. I mean, I think what's really beautiful about it is that you really push forward your intention with your career. And I don't think a lot of people understand that, because it's like, and I think shout out Smooth, but like we were,
she's my baby.
Yeah. But we were at BFF, and you were telling me I should go. Jaleesa was telling me I should go. And so I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to go next year. Boom. But I'm thinking like, oh yeah, this is like an industry thing. Like it's not really for me type of thing. But what really opened my eyes was just like what you were saying. Cause like I've known your story for so long, and I didn't know that so many people also experience that, where it's just like, it's like these people are in the industry and are trying to get the Black voice out there, or, you know, black women's voice, black men's voice. And it's like, you feel like you're on an island until you're at that conference.
I think you said it in maybe the spaces last night. Like, it's a bunch of people who, excuse me, a bunch of people who's like, you're the only person who's Black at the table. And like, it's a lonely experience, but when you're in a space like that, everybody's having the same experience. So it's the only place where you can like share frustrations really, and somebody really understands what it's like, because it's a different thing working at like a traditional business and experiencing these things, because a lot of us come up with like, you know, wanting to work in this business and it being like a dream and wearing these products. And so there's a different emotional connection between Black and brown people and the sneaker industry than when we're having these racist and microaggression experiences in a workplace. It hits very different when it's like the thing that you love.
And then there's even conversations about that where somebody would go to HR and then they'll be like, tough it out, like, you know. And it's tough because I've witnessed some of that as well. Like, I've been, my career, like, I've worked in project management. I don't talk about it a lot, but like, I'm a creative asset manager for an advertising company, and like, I've been through, like, I worked at entertainment. I worked
like, I'm sure you've seen and heard some things.
So I've been through my fair share of stuff. And being one of the only person of color that would be in that room, I'm like, damn, this sucks. Like, you know? And so being able to have like other people and going other, like, and seeing your journey in that docuseries, I think it's called now.
I think it's previously on Quibi, now on Roku.
But seeing that and seeing that story being told is something that needs to be like pushed out more often, because I think we live in this world now, and I mean, this is what the space I was talking about yesterday too, where it's just like, and I just like thinking about it, like the differences between Complex Con and BFF, and
it's like, so wild to hear somebody say like, which one should I go to? And it's like, ain't gonna be no rides at Complex at BFF. I'm gonna tell you right now, like, ain't gonna be, it's not Coney Island. Like, like, you're not gonna have the same experience.
J-Tip's not dropping no exclusive drops there.
No, but it's like, are people accessible? Yes, like, absolutely, and like friendly, absolutely. It's just like a different audience of the sneaker culture, community, industry, all of the above.
But before we get deeper into that, you're here to answer the question that I ask everybody each week, and that question is, what's your first kicks? What's that first pair of sneakers you absolutely needed to have?
Oh my God, it's like twofold for me, because I'm a San Diego, Southern California kid. So the Chuck Taylor was like, for me, and I think I tell this story in the sneakers book, but it was like, my mom couldn't even afford like the $45 Chuck Taylors. So all the like white girls, you know, I went to predominantly white schools most of my life, was like, they all had blue Chucks or black Chucks. And I'm like, damn, I really want Chucks. So it was like that first, when my mom finally was like, okay, I'll do it. I was like, okay, I thought I was like that girl. But that was like early, maybe like 9-10 years old, when I was like, working my first paycheck. I worked in the mall, and I worked that bitch walked it right over to Foot Locker and put the Jordan 11 IEs on layaway.
Okay.
So that, that
bring back layaway.
Yeah. Oh my God. I put my little $20 down, like, bow, and remember going back, putting $20 down every paycheck. And like 6 weeks later, I have my shoes.
Got them.
I got them. But I was like, put them on in the store, walk out. It was like a very different time then. I mean, that was like, that had to be like 96, 97.
96, 97. I mean, because I had Dante Ross on, and he loves the IEs too. And so, I don't know. It was a shoe that did not really connect with me. I don't know why. Man. I'm also not a big 11
Well, it's funny
person.
Because I spun the block and rebought that shoe in San Diego at Rosewood. So it was like a very surreal experience, you know? And I still have my first shoe box. I don't have the shoes though, but I wasn't smart, and like before 20, I was just like,
we outside with them.
Yeah.
I think look, shoes will be made to be worn, like if you don't wear them, they just separate.
Yeah. And I wear mine now, but it was like before then I wasn't like collecting sneakers. I just wore sneakers all the time.
Yeah. I've always been curious about this. When did sneaker culture find you?
Actually, like, I think like the collecting aspect, because my friends and I were all into sneakers. So it was like, but we weren't And we would read East Bay, but there wasn't like I wasn't on the message boards and like these things back then until actually through car culture, because I used to build JDM, Japanese domestic cars.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I used to build cars.
Favorite car? Favorite Japanese import car?
The EG9, which is what I had.
Oh, snap.
Baby, 4-door grocery getter, mama's car with a B16 in that bitch.
Damn.
Okay? Turbo. Like, jeez. So. And a fucking roll cage and a Sparko and a baby Sparko for Zion in the back.
That's crazy. You just have them in the back while you're hitting the Fast and Furious out there.
So, that's crazy. In San Diego, we had a quarter mile, like a legal racetrack. Yeah. So
I mean, you only live life of a quarter mile.
I love cars. So it was like through car meetups where we would like meet up and drive through the mountains of Julian early in the morning and canyon carving and all that. Like obviously, like Japanese culture with the cars is like a lot of the people out there are wearing like Japanese sneakers,
right?
And they're a reading hype beast, and so. I got into it more like going to the meetups, and that's when I started like trading kicks and like going on ISS. That's crazy, and female sneaker fiend. Shout
out female sneaker fiend. Yeah. I remember I found that page and I was like, nope, I cannot be on here.
Yeah. First community for women.
Yeah.
You know, like shout out to Lori and Jen Twice and like all the people I know.
I met Jen Twice at CountlessCon.
Oh, she's an OG.
Legend. Yeah, legend. I was like, can you get on my podcast? She was like, can't do it.
She can't do it now. You know, the brand voice is like, shut that down. Yeah. That's why I never went in house, because it's like, you're not going to stop this.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. First, the car part. Also, my dream car is a Mitsubishi Evolution.
Okay.
I've heard nothing but bad things about it. Mm-hmm. They say that people just burn them down. I'll burn one. I just need to burn one down. Just give me one, and then a Skyline after that. Yeah. I'll take a.
I used to want a Skyline so bad, and an S2000 when I was like 21, 22. So
crazy.
And it's like that's what I'm like having this like identity crisis now of like, what do you do with those things that like you love and you aspired for, but now it's like I've kind of outgrown them at 44. Like, yeah, now if I'm buying my son a car, like, but I'm not going to buy him one of these,
right?
So
I don't know. Zion could. I mean, 7.
Yeah, I know. 7 wants a BMW. I'm like, boy, you need a job.
That's
like
sell some beats.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I did not. Also, there was it's interesting because like there was a time, especially during the forums, where like Filipino people, like the Filipino culture really took over sneakers for like a hot second.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been always very curious of like, how did that even happen? But it's interesting because now you're talking about car culture and how car culture translated. And I'm like, okay, now it's starting to I'm bridging a little bit of the gaps that I've been asking years to figure out.
And like, I wouldn't be able to tell you because I'm like from San Diego, like it's a lot of Filipinos in San Diego.
Yeah.
So I'm not Filipino, I'm Chamorro, but like hella Filipino people like where I come from. So it's like I couldn't tell you when that happened because they were always into sneakers and hip hop and cars and everywhere I was, you know.
I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy that like that culture in San Diego was so like thick of it too.
But sneaker culture, not really.
No, yeah.
I would have to like meet girls at the mall, you know, in the parking lot, and we would be like trading shoes, or like buying off each other or whatever. But it wasn't like we didn't have a lot of meetups and sneaker like Dunk Exchange back then like rarely came. So you had to go to LA to like have culture. When I was camping out and shopping and stuff, it would be like Melrose and Fairfax. It wouldn't be in San Diego.
You'd do the trip up, and then what was that like? Like
it's a 2-hour commute, so it's not bad.
You'd be like, all right, Thursday we in there, or I don't know, whatever drop date is.
You go in the morning or go in the nighttime and camp out all night and be there in the morning, cop your shoe and drive home.
Any crazy stories from then?
I think the only not crazy camp out story, but I camped for the De La Souls, and I'm a huge De La Soul fan, like big backpack rap fan.
Same.
Aged myself with that term.
Rest in peace, Doom.
Yes, big back. So it was like I loved De La and camped for the shoes, wore them in Girls Got Kicks, which was like the second year of my career, and then became friends with Paz on Sneaker Play.
Wow.
So he was like a moderator. Like back then, like the Nigel, like they were really into the sneaker community. Like they were part of the community.
Yeah.
And so he was like a moderator on the fucking sneaker forum. And I'm like, bro, what? And so we get to be friends. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a huge fan. Like, so embarrassing for like, so I'm like, we're on the internet. Like, and I'm like, hi. And then he started following me because I worked at Kicks on Fire at the time. And then he asked me, like, can you style me for Coachella? And I'm like, I am not a stylist, but people think because you're into sneakers that that like you can like Henry said, like, I don't trust your opinion if you can't get a fit off. Well, don't listen to me because I'm not about the style. Like the style is not my bag. Like I thought I like sneakers and that's it. But he asked like, could you do that? And I was like, okay. And he took me to Union and introduced me to Chris and Beth, and then we shopped there for him and put some looks together for Coachella. And yeah, he invited me to like a recording session when they started working on their next album. And then he asked to bring a copy of Girls Got Kicks and he asked me to sign it for him. So he signed my box of De La's and I signed the book for him. And it was a very like full circle moment for me. That
is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Oh my God.
He's cool as hell.
Yeah.
Like for sure.
I still have yet to meet. I remember when they did when they just got their the rights back to their, and they did that show in Webster Hall.
Yeah.
I remember I was gonna text Dante like, yo, can you get me in? But then he tweeted out, he was like, don't
you hate when people tweet that? Don't hit me. I can't get you in. Like
he said, don't hit me day of. That's not Cypher. And I was like, guess I'm watching this on Twitch.
Yep.
Like,
oh well.
That's crazy. I would love to meet them. I'm a big De La fan. To me, I don't know. That's just like, I love Queens hip hop. So like, I mean, them being from Long Island and stuff, that's when they was considering Long Island part of Queens before they sectioned it off. But I think that like, I mean, I'm a huge Tribe fan. So like all the Brand Nubian,
big Native Tongues fan.
Yeah, Native Tongues. That's what I'm trying to say. Native Tongues fan, like die hard. I hope you've been enjoying this week's episode with Jazz. If you are, please make sure you are liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're listening to this, no video, and you're on Spotify or Apple or any other audio platform that you're listening to this on, please leave a review and rate this episode 5 stars if you've been enjoying it. I hope you've been enjoying it. And of course, if you want to go the extra mile and get a shout out at the end of the episode, please, please, please join the Patreon at patreon.com/myfirstkicks. We got 2 tiers, $3 tier, $5 tier. If you would sign up, it goes a long way and you get a shout out at the end. I'm also planning to add extra content and all this extra stuff. So be sure to hit up the Patreon. And of course, let's jump back right into the episode. How did hip hop, how did New York, like that sound find its way to you in San Diego?
I had an older brother. He passed. I was 7 years older than me, and he grew up in DC, and so his mom was from the East Coast. Well, I was born in Prince George's County because my dad's from there. So, and I grew up on the West Coast, but he grew up on the East Coast, and he put me on to go-go music and Nas. Like Nas, is my favorite rapper of all time.
Nas, my favorite rapper of all time.
Seven's middle name is Nasir.
Really?
Yeah. So he's
crazy.
Like favorite rapper ever.
That's crazy.
Common, like a bunch, just like Mob. Was a big Mob fan. So yeah, my older brother was like heavy into hip hop and would be sending me tapes, like cassette tapes in the mail.
That's how Stretch and Bobbito made it to the West Coast. I remember I watched that documentary and they were like, yeah, people were just ripping it off of it and mailing tapes across the States.
My brother would record the radio for me and like send it over to me.
That's crazy. So like from there, how did you figure out like sneakers is what I wanted to do?
Well, I didn't know that then because it's like these people have like the kids today have it so easy because it's like this wasn't even like a career path that you could fathom. Like when I was growing up, like there wasn't as much transparency into like how the hell do you design sneakers?
Right, yeah.
And there weren't any like collaborators that weren't sports players. So that wasn't really like a thing to be aspiring to be. Excuse me. I went to school because I wanted to be a writer. I'd been a writer. Like I was published for the first time when I was 8. So I've been, writing short stories, poetry, like spoken word. I was on tour before all this, doing poetry. I was I loved writing. And so when I graduated college, I thought like, oh, I'll write. I wanted to write as a kid at like Jane or Sassy magazine, but both of these magazines ended up closing by the time I like got out of college. So then I was like, well, I guess I'll have to write at like Cosmo or Glamour or something. But those magazines didn't really speak to me. But I was like, fuck it. Like, we're this far. Like, this is the only, I'm not going to write a novel.
Yeah.
So like, I guess I'll have to write a magazine. And then all print, like I graduated 2006, print died. Like that year I was like, oh, okay.
You and me had the same premonition. I graduated college in 2008 maybe. And I went to school for print. And like, I remember working at Time Inc. like, oh yeah, all this stuff is just moving to digital.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, thank God I didn't go to J school. So I was like, my God, like the whole thing would have been for nothing.
Yeah.
And then I was like working in marketing at the Girl Scouts. So I've always done some type of like girls or women's focus work and or community-based work. So I worked at the Girl Scouts as a marketing director there in LA. And one of my friends, Eric, he was like, oh, I know the founder of Kicks on Fire. Like, they're looking for a new writer. I think, like, I'm going to connect you. And I was like, okay. But I was like, where would it live? Like, I'd be writing for, writing what? And he hit me up on AOL Instant Messenger. And he's like, hey. And he sent me a picture of me that had been, like, viral on Tumblr. It was a picture of the De La Souls under my wedding dress because I'm divorced now, but I got married in the De La's. Excuse me.
It's all good. That's crazy.
And so that picture like went Tumblr viral. So he's like, is this you? And I was like, yeah, that's me. And he was like, are you a writer? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you really like sneakers? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and you're a girl? And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, do you want to write for, or do you want to blog about sneakers like on Kicks on Fire or whatever? And I was like, what the hell is Kicks on Fire?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? And I was like, oh, like, what is blogging? Like, I was like, what are you talking about? And he was, so he showed me and I was like, fuck yeah. And I'm like, and you're going to pay me?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I was like, you're going to pay me to do this? I do this shit for free with my friends, like every day.
Yeah.
I'm writing on MySpace and my little notes, So I'm like, yeah, I do this like for free every day. Like, absolutely. You want me to research the sneakers coming out and write about them on the internet? Got you. Yeah. Got you. So 7 was a newborn. And so I would be like having 7 right here and like writing with him like at the desk, like over, like doing
That's
this on
awesome.
the computer.
Yeah.
So when I started in 2007, but yeah, that's how it found me.
That's crazy. And I didn't even know Kicks. I thought you were like one of the founding members of Kicks on Fire.
They had Khan,
yeah.
Khan, who is the founder of Kicks on Fire. He started it when he was 16, and he had like a rap forum before that, and he basically like liquidated that to start like this Kicks blog.
Yeah.
And so at that time, it was in the Complex network, so it was Nice Kicks at the time. So Matt was like my biggest competitor. So Khan he was like the founder, but I really ran the business for him. Like since I arrived, and I think he's launched maybe like 4 years before I got there, but I was there 10 years. And so I ran his business, most of that time. So I started as a junior copywriter, and then I did all the hiring for him. So I, brought in the staff and then opened up the video portion with Jock. We brought Jock in to do that. And then I left as the director of operations. So
damn, you carved your way.
Yeah, but it was like something I was doing for fun. I think that's like what people don't really understand is like I didn't have this grand scheme plan. It was like something I was doing for fun at night.
Yeah.
And then I became a single mom and it was like, okay, you got to do this for real now. Like,
yeah, hey, you created opportunity out of necessity too.
No, and it became a time too. I don't remember who I was telling this to the other day, but it was like, I didn't want to be working at Bank of America and a smooth walk in and be at the fucking teller and be like, didn't you used to be that girl that worked at Kicks on Fire? And I'd have to be like, so I'm like, yeah, that is like that was my nightmare. So I'm like, yeah, I have to flip this up and figure out what I'm going to parlay this into next. So that's why I tell the girls like all the time, like, you're not going to be unboxing shoes forever. Like, you need to think about, what are you going to like lay this up into from here? Like, even if you do this for 10 years, like, what are you going to try to do after this?
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting too, because like, and I've had like conversations about mentorship, and you don't really, Trayvon has a thing where it's like you don't really pick your mentors. Your mentors, you just have them.
It's a good,
yeah.
It's like I think you have to find the cohesion. Like, you can't just be like, sure, I'll mentor you. Cause like, what if you don't vibe? What if you don't get along? Right. What if you don't believe in this person?
Yeah.
I think that's like the biggest thing is like, there have been times where I've said no, but it's like, it's because I personally don't see it, and not to say it's not going to happen, but like, I need to be able to see it.
Right. Yeah. That's very interesting too, because like, I mean, I feel like the theme this year, especially for me, is like bet on yourself. And so, recently we saw Salehi, break off and bet on himself. And I think that like I think that's like the hardest thing to do.
Well, it depends on like the situation too. I've had to bet on myself like this whole time. So it's like a lot of times it's a lot easier than some other times. But one of the harder times was like when I started my business, True to Size. Like right when I started the business, it wasn't like starting it, but excuse me. When I started it, like around that same time, a recruiter reached out to me and they wanted to they put me in like an interview pool for a director position at Jordan Brand.
Wow.
And it was in creative. And I was like, oh yeah, like I'm down. But they're like, you'd have to move to Portland, this and that. But it was beautiful pay, like, and like everything that I would want to do, like, your dream job as a kid, right? And like, I'm like, okay, like I would be down to do that. But doing that would mean like I'm not going to open this business. And beyond that, similar like we just talked about, Jen, once you go in at that level, like you're not in the field anymore. Like I'm not sitting down with you. I'm not sitting down with Smooth and like whoever else. Like it's quiet.
You can't take nobody under you.
No, it's quiet for that. And I'm like, at this point in my career, it's not worth it for me. So I was like, I'm just going to remove myself from that situation and bet on myself so I can work with everybody if I want to and stay in the field and be able to talk my shit if I want to, wherever I want to, and however I want to.
Yeah.
Because I pay myself.
For sure. So like between Kicks on Fire and starting True to Size, like.
Oh, God. I left Kicks on Fire in 14 or 15. Seth Garrisburg, who was Mark Echo's first partner in Complex, he knew who I was. And so I was out here with Reebok and Conor McGregor at the time. And they asked me, they asked me to come into the office. And he had bought Slam X Hype at the time.
Yeah.
And then he bought 10% of a bunch of like heritage and New York brands, 40 ounce, Rocksmith, Hell's Bells. I can't remember. A-Life. I can't remember who else was
this
there.
is the Collective?
At the Collective, yeah. So
I had Chris Chaney on, so I know a lot of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Seth asked me to come in because he knew me from Kicks on Fire. And like we had just launched our sneaker calendar at that time. And it was like one of the more thorough calendars before like that became a thing. And so he was like, okay, like you work on this, and this. And I was like, yeah. And then he brought me into this boardroom with like 10 people in there. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And I'm in jean shorts and like a halter top. And I'm like, is it like, are we in a meeting? Like I was so confused. And so he's sitting like this at the table. And then he's like, oh, well, what do you think about this? Like he shows me like his landing page. And I'm like, that shit's trash.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what do you think about this video? And he plays this video. And I'm like, it's boring. Like, and he's like, well, what do you think about this? And I'm like, that's not the way you should do it. And he's like, what do you think about these designs? I'm like, those are corny. And so he's like, how much do you make it Kicks on Fire? And it was an embarrassing low amount because it was like, it was like my side thing. And so I was like, I'm not comfortable talking about that, And then, and then he's like, well, write it down. Or he was like, I want you to write down what it would cost for you to come work for me. And I was like, oh, that's never happening. I was like, I'm not moving to New York. I never like imagined that this would be a thing. So I was like, I'm not moving to New York. Like, I'm not coming to work here. I don't even know you. Like, and he was like, just write it down. And so I wrote down like 105, I think. And so he was like, oh yeah, we could do that. And I was like, what the hell? And so I left and I was like, we'll talk about it. And so he called me for 10 days, like straight every day. Yeah. Like, what do you think? And I kept saying no. And it wasn't like a trying to bargain with him. It was a firm no. Like, no, you're crazy. I'm not fucking moving my kids to New York. I had just been divorced. So I'm like, I need my family. My sister was living with me. I'm like, I can't, this is too much for me right now. So it was more of like a disbelief and like, I kept saying no, but every day he kept offering me something more. And so it ended up being a $20,000 like relocation package that he gave me. He put my kids in summer camp so that I could come for the summer and just try to live here by myself, because that was my big concern. Like, I don't even know if I can do it. Like, let alone
the structure you had built. Yeah.
And like, I come from the Valley, like this, I moved to Brooklyn. Like when I first moved here. So I was like, this is like a whole different thing. I don't even know if I can do it, let alone my kids. So let me come for the summer first and try it out. So he put my kids in summer camp, and then he gave me like an Airbnb allowance to come for the summertime. And then he gave me like an extra $10,000 to furnish my crib and to put like the deposit down and pay my broker fee, because we don't do that in California.
No, definitely don't. It's only here.
Yeah. So it was like, oh, it's going to cost me $14,000 to move into an apartment. What the hell? Yeah. Like, so he paid for all of that. And so that allowed me to kind of like start my life on this side at a really like critical time in my life too.
Yeah.
And so I came here and I lived in Brooklyn for a few months, and this was like in 2015. Yeah. And then he lived in Inglewood, and he is Jewish, and so he didn't work from like Friday night, or he didn't use electricity from Friday night and then all day Saturday. Yeah,
Sabbath.
Yeah, and so I don't know the word. So
I'm trying to say.
I know.
I'm trying to be correct here. I think it is. I got it. All right, cool.
So he was like, oh, well, I live in Inglewood. Like, you should move to Edgewater because it's like very close, and I don't go to work on Fridays, because our office was in 38th and 10th in the big yellow DHL building. And so he was like, you can take the ferry and walk to work, and then on Fridays we can work at my house. And I was like, okay. So on Fridays we would work at his house with these big sheets of paper, like as big as a table, and pencils, and we would be like scribbling and making these notes all over the paper, and then he would photograph them and then like print out like for everybody like all the notes that were on the sheet.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he taught me a lot about work ethic, and when I took the job too, he told me like, everybody that's like somebody right now, like, did this job for a year before they went out and did their own thing. And I was like, interesting. So he told me Matt from Nice Kicks had worked for him, Vashti. So I just hit them all up because I knew them, and I'm like, yo, what's good with Seth? Like, what was it like? And they all told me the same thing. Like, he's intense as fuck. Like, it's going to be a struggle. Like, but it'll be transformative. And it was. Like, I worked for him for a year, and then they went bankrupt like the year after they brought me here. So I was like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do now? But it taught me a lot. There were times I had to sleep in that office. I produced my first events on that rooftop.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, like, so it was like a good intro for me to be in the city too.
I mean, that sounds like a crash course.
It was.
And like, so it seems like learning that stuff on the job, right? Like, did that propel you to be like, yo, let me start my own thing? Or was there a pivotal moment where you're like, this is missing?
Well, in between, I launched the Real Friends cap. And I don't know, have you seen it?
No.
Like, a lot of people know me from this cap.
Oh.
So.
That's fire.
Yeah. So me and my ex-boyfriend did this cap. And we had 3 colorways, and we released it. And we did like $150,000 in caps in like 2 months. And we were in 4 magazines that summer, and just like shit started being sold out all the time. And then PacSun ripped us off and started selling it in the PacSun. They made t-shirts and everything. But a couple boutiques like in LA had picked it up, and they were selling it for us. And so it was like, I was like, oh, okay, like I could probably do this. And then I was like, I hate selling product. Like, I literally cannot stand it. Like, doing the shoe was a different experience, but this, like, owning the brand and worrying about the supply chain, like all this, like, I don't want to do this. I can't. This is not for me. So yeah. So that was my little interim.
That's the first dabble.
Yeah. And then after that, I was like, I need to get a real job. Like, I can't be dependent on do niggas like my hat this month or not? Like, yeah, like I don't really give a fuck if you like my cap anymore. Like, I need to get a real job. And so I started applying at different at publications, and I have like 3,000 bylines with Kicks on Fire at this time.
Yeah.
And I could not get a job in the editorial. There, people were like, "Oh, you don't have enough experience telling women's stories," which was crazy to me because I worked in sneakers. So they're like, yeah, basically like, go to Men's Fitness or something. Go, like, you can't, you don't have enough experience telling women's stories. So I was like, fuck it. I'll go into the agency space. So I interviewed at an agency called Crush and Lovely, and they were like a tech studio. And they were like, how do you find your projects? And I was like, in my email. And they were like, what do you mean? I'm like, people come to me and ask me to do stuff, but I don't have a team to execute. And the founder was like, if we gave you a team, like, would you bring the projects here? And I was like, yeah, of course. So they brought me in, and then they created an offering, like a kind of experiential, as we were calling it back then, offering for a production and app builds and stuff like that. And so I started an offering there, which after the first year, he was like, hey, I think you should be about everything that you talk about, and you talk about equity and ownership. And so we want to like, take this out of incubation basically and we want to like partner with you in launching this business. And so they helped me launch True to Size. Wow. And then I bought them out like 2 years into the business. So I've been at it like 5 years now, I think.
How did that feel to be like, I'm gonna buy you out?
I mean, it kind of like came at a time where they were like, yeah, you're going to do it by yourself. From, they were kind of like, we were kind of not working together a lot, but a lot of our services were still together. So they were like, yeah, we're going to clean up the paperwork and you're going to be on your own. And I'm like, okay, perfect. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine with that.
It's interesting too, because like, that is just an amazing story, first of all, because not many people get that opportunity as well, where it's just like, hey, I'm bringing this to you. And usually it's always like, I feel like it's always like a bad story after that. It's just like, yeah, and then they just took all my business away from me.
It never works out. Yeah.
So it's just like, more power to you to be able to be like, nah, we're going to break off and do your own thing. Because like, and then being also like, fly.
Well, to be fair, like it was 3 white boys who played in a jazz band together, and they got into tech because they built their own website for their band, and then they ended up being better at building websites than they were musicians, so they started a business. But I think they like understood a lot, like being like jazz musicians and being around Black culture. I think they like understood more empathetic to my story.
Hey, more power. Because that's crazy. You're never going to hear that. You're never going to hear like, my bosses were like in the jazz band. Yeah. And they really like Black people. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. And then like, I'm always curious of just like, how do you find the people that you find? Because like, I think you're really intentional. You're really intentional with like who you talk to, who you give your time to. And it's same to like, I always treat like who my guests are. Like I treat it like I'm like an A&R. And so like, I feel like I want to know like, what's your process? Because I feel like everybody that you've worked with have always been like, oh, these are my core values. And like, it feels like a lot of the people that you really connect with have the same core values. So I'm like, how do you find that?
On the being on social media and just sitting back and doing a lot of observing, like not only of the person, but like who that person is associating with, like if that person's arguing with motherfuckers online or not, or like shading somebody on their story. Like I don't want to be involved in the messy stuff, especially at this big age, but it's not good for business either. And, content creation checks a lot different than agency checks. So I'm just not trying to lose that type of business on some dumb shit because you don't like me because I didn't put you on my story or didn't. I think I'm a gatekeeper because I don't want to give you an opportunity in my business. Well, they're my dollars. Yeah. Like I can gatekeep my wallet if I want to. Yeah. Like,
because your name is, at the end of the day, people are going to be like, oh, you're associated with
Well,
jazz.
I think that's what people don't understand is like, you come into my shop, the business comes in on my name. So like they expect a level of excellence that is me, not like they don't care about you being new to this. Like it's going to be me. And I co-sign that and I allow that to happen, and that's not a good look for me.
No, yeah.
So yeah, I find a lot of people on the internet. When I was early in my career, when I'd hire at Kicks on Fire, I would hire from Twitter because I had a firm belief that like many people, we hired photographers and writers, so it was like many people all over the world are good at this. Like you don't have to be in New York or LA, right? I was like, there's a lot of people in these small little towns that are good photographers, good writers, and they deserve an opportunity to have their work amplified.
Yeah, hey,
that's how I found Alexander John.
Yeah.
So when I met Alexander John, he used to participate in. We would have these like separate days on Twitter and Instagram that would honor separate things. So it was like Tuesdays. It would be SBology. I think we would talk about Nike SB and the stories behind them, because that was like not a big thing. People were only buying and talk about Jordans at that time. And then, that was Thursday, maybe. Tuesday, we would do Chicks on Fire. So we would do girls all day, but like we were focused on like streetwear girls, not the girls that were like in bathing suits with their boyfriend shoes on, which was very popular at that time. So I was like intentionally searching for women at the time. And we would feature them on Tuesdays, and then Thursdays we would talk about SBs, and Sundays we would talk about art. And so it's like sneaker art, like, so not customs necessarily, unless people like Mache or something was like painting on them, but more like Freehand Prophet and like the sneaker masks.
Shout out Freehand Prophet.
I love him. That's an old time friend of mine too. So
I miss those days. I mean, I wasn't on there heavy during those times, but I used to hear about it. Like, I mean, even when I had Russ on here, he was telling me about how Gilbert Arenas would go on there and just be like, "Hey, I'm a size 13." Here.
Gil is a friend of mine too from back then. Like, I know all those guys from being like actual readers of the sneaker blogs and like members of the community. They were really into it.
It's that's why it's funny, because like, I mean, you were in the space yesterday and people were talking about, oh yeah, people don't really check sneaker Twitter anymore and stuff like that. It's like, I mean, because there was a reason to come on before, and it was really sneaker oriented, and it wasn't like, hey, we're gonna go, you shouldn't be showing toes or something like that, like, and it's like, I don't know, I'm not gonna go on this rant about it, but like, I
saw somebody the other day say like, okay, great, you got seated and you showed us excuse me. Great, you got seated and you showed us the shoes, but like, what else are you going to do with them? And I'm like, what else were they supposed to do with them? Like, don't y'all get on here and post fucking got 'em screenshots all morning on Saturday? Like, is that not any different like than somebody posting their shoes that they got? Like, it's very, very confusing to me. It's also weird for me because, I've been seated for 20 years. Like, to be hearing these conversations now is like, you never used to hear this stuff when I was coming up in this business ever.
I hit the congrats and I just move on, but I don't understand it, and I don't understand why people funnel, like, they get really like tunnel vision on this stuff too, where it's just like just move on. I think it's time to be like, yo, we can do more with this, But I definitely want to jump into that bag. So,
oh god, my bag is goodies.
Yeah. Do you have the first shoe that you made and worked on?
Yeah. I think these are the first shoes I worked on. The Kill Bills.
The Kill Bill kiddos.
Yep. You want them?
Yeah.
So Wex, when he was at Adidas, he would bring me in to do a lot of like influencer design engagements. And so this one was when they launched the shell toe for My Adidas. And they needed like sample colorways. If you go onto like the ID, whatever, and it's like, oh, here's some different colorways that are already prearranged for you. So I would do work on those, like the ones that were already set. So this was the first one that I did. And I'm a huge like Beatrix Kiddo fan, especially like the way my life has gone. So they say Kiddo. I wanted them to say Crazy 88 here.
Ooh, but
yeah, licensing was like, no, I don't think so, baby girl.
You can only get away with a little bit of this.
So I was like, all right, we'll throw Kiddo on there and see what happens. So yeah, these are the first shoes that I worked on.
No, yeah, those are so dope. I think that the opportunity, like, how did you, like, what, I know people now, it's like there's a whole school, we went to Pencil about it, but it's just like, was this just you being like, I want to just I have this idea, like, let's throw it on this.
Yeah, no, they gave us all the stuff like that you would had the option to do so that you could make the sample one. But a lot of those opportunities came about because I was in media.
Yeah.
And just like I think Mr. Unloved, I was on his post talking about it, is like seating and these experiences used to be reserved for like press, media, PR.
Right.
Like there was no influencers back then. So it was like, okay, well, they would come to me because I was working in the press and I could do this experience and I would talk about it on Kicks on Fire. And that was the purpose of like bringing me to this special moment or, having me design these things or whatever.
I mean, look, this is what I'm trying to do with this. I think hopefully I'm ushering that back where it's just like, I go to these things, I get to talk about the experience and because I feel like that's such a lost art right now. Everybody just turn it into 30-second reels and it's like, but you don't really get to experience it.
Yeah. And you don't remember it.
Yeah, for sure. What we got next?
The second pair I worked on also for Adidas, when they did the ZX Flux. So this pattern, my ex-brother-in-law painted this on my skateboard. And so this is a picture of my skateboard. And then basically they laid photos on top of the ZX Flux. And so when I did this one, they had a art exhibit in Soho where they showcased all the ZX Fluxes from the influencers, quote unquote, that designed them. Wow. So these were on display in Soho. But yeah.
First of all, you skated?
Yeah.
You used to skate?
I'm from San Diego. I came up in like skating and skate shoes, Etnies, Osiris, DVS.
These are dope. I love the connection.
Yep. So that was the second pair I worked on. And then
we got the legendary.
My shoe.
We got your shoe.
My shoe. A big one. I bought a
I
DS
still need
pair.
These are so gorgeous.
Thank you.
I mean, you gotta show the insole too.
Yep.
Ugh. So a woman did that.
Yeah. It's a letter to the younger women in sneakers.
Yeah. That's so like make sure y'all watch that docuseries because it's gonna make you want this shoe as well.
Thank you.
Like it's such a clean shoe too. I almost wore my I didn't even know it was a part of the back. It's a man's world crossed out.
Yeah. And then it says blessed in, I don't know if it's this window.
Where's the other?
Yeah, this one. Instead of Reebok, they say blessed.
Oh, sick. I think this one is the one. This one is the one.
That one. Okay, I was like, all right.
That's awesome. These feel great too.
Thank you.
You crushed it.
I think a lot of people, and I know Shmi talks about this a lot online, but they don't think about the cost of the shoe and like how it's played into the different materials and stuff. So we went through like 5 samples because it was really important for me to do like a genderless shoe as a woman that was like more like you could take it up or down, wear it to work or wear it, outside, whatever. And that also was like had great materials, but I wanted my shoe to land like at $100.
Yeah.
And I didn't because as a single mom, I would be spending $1,000 on a regular Saturday for me and my 2 kids. Like it's crazy. So I was like, I don't think that's right. I don't like where the industry is now. I want my shoe to land here, but to also have wax laces and really great leather. So we use 3 different types of leather, but the tongue, and then this is different than this. So we went through multiple samplings so I could like test the materials and make sure they felt good. And I wore it for a long time so I could see like how it would age and how it felt like once you broke it in. But it was really important for me to work on like especially when like I came up like everything was like pink and purple or sparkly and bedazzled. It's like I just want to do like an earth tone shoe for women and for everybody, but specifically like a woman designing one and have it available in the market. And then when we went through development, they wanted me to drop like the women's club C, and I was like, no, like I want it to be the men's or the unisex. And they were like, why? And I was like, because I have 150 pairs of shoes and maybe 2 of them say women's size 8. Like the natural shopping experience, unfortunately, for a lot of women is to buy a 6, like their boy size. And I want them to have that same experience. And I want my kids to be able to wear the shoes as well. and to be able to fit them. And they were like, oh, we never thought about that. So it was like, that taught me that a lot of times, even though, because we know it as consumers, you expect people in the brand to know that these are like problems. And it's like, no, a lot of times I be in there and they're just like, what? I never thought about that. And I'm like, yeah. Like,
it's like common sense.
Yeah, it really is like common sense. So
yeah. That like, did that process really like open your eyes on like what you could do and like what, because like one of my biggest things from taking like seeing your journey and stuff like that is like so much is unknown about this process. Like the insight to get to that port, right?
Yeah.
Everybody thinks like they just get this. Like you just draw a sneaker and bam, you know, like I'm good now. I can make this like, and so I think this is like been my big like goal with this too, is like kind of like unveiling the middle part, because a lot of people just are critical of the end piece. Like, I mean, I say this a lot. Like Tyler Creator always says, it'll take me 2 years to make a song. It'll take you 10 minutes to tear it apart.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you have spent so much time making this shoe, and you know, the docuseries, you gifted it to Lena Waithe. Like a lot of these things you've done super intentional. And so like that process where you saw it from beginning to end, like how much of that really inspired you to be like, a lot of people need to see that so they can be part of that?
Even before, I think my whole career has like inspired me to be like, hello, you guys, like there's a lot of opportunities in this space for us, but like you really need to do your reading and figure out, like you can't just do it all. Like, you know, they see, especially now, like people see like a J Tips and they're like, yeah, I want to do that. But it's like, yeah, he's able to do that because he was J Tips. Like you have to become something first. Like, but yeah, I think everything in my career has taught me, like, you know, going to brand parties when I was like at Kicks on Fire, when I first started going to like these brand engagements, I would be like, I didn't even know all this was going on behind. Like I've been asleep. Like they're flying me to, you know, Chicago to go shopping and da 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 da. It's like, I didn't even know people was doing this. Like this is where I need to be, right here. This is my sweet spot. But going to those parties also taught me that like all those experiences were the same. Like, oh, there's a DJ, there's a signature cocktail, you're gonna get gifted the shoe. And a lot back then, they didn't even have the shoe for me on my side. So they would gift me some like bullshit women's package. So I'm not even getting like the product or like experiencing it or anything.
Right. Yeah.
And so it was like, yeah, I could do this a lot better. Like I have a lot better ideas like when it comes to these product launches. And that was like, okay, I need to figure out how to get from here to there. Like, and I figured out it was like being in the agency space. And so I would like, when I first came into Crush and Lovely, I started pitching my friends who would book me when I was at Kicks on Fire, or would like bring me out to events. And so the PR girl for Puma from years before, she was at New Balance and she was working in marketing, and she like gave me my first project, which was New Balance's first Gray Day. South by Southwest with Raekwon.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was a crazy. It was like I got to get all my dreams off. I was like, $250,000? Absolutely. They were like, we want a private plane. I was like, got you. They're like, we want to design the hotel rooms in the boutique. Got you. We want to design the stores too. I'm like, got you. So I was just like, it was dream project, like right out the gate. So it taught, you know, and that kind of taught me a lot of like, oh my gosh, like there's 10 people working on this and like 4 designers, and everybody's trying to make flyers for such like, this is what you need to be doing. Like you need to be in here making $85 an hour, like selling your design services or whatever, you know, like this is what you need to be doing, producing events. And, but they were so, you know, people are so focused, specifically, I think on like sneaker Twitter is like, they think this is the only way, like content creation, or when they speak about the industry, it's like they only speak about the industry through the lens of like being Nigel or content creation. And it's like, there's so much out there. A ton. And a lot longer dollars than doing that. A lot more stable dollars too than this. So, that kind of, you know, definitely taught me. But when I got the shoe is because I pitched Reebok and I was pitching strategy. Like I was trying to pitch in different ways. Like, okay, I'll just pitch the creative strategy as like somebody that comes from the community and like has seen, you know, a lot of things in women's, like I'll pitch strategy, but like somebody else can produce it. And so I would just pitch the beginning piece. And so Reebok brought me in to do like a strategic consultation with their retail department in like, how can we redesign a retail space that speaks more authentically to everybody? Because I'm like, we do not want a 602. Like, I don't want to leave my friends who are multi-gender, you know, to go shop by myself at 602. Like, I just want my experience to be better in the existing store. Like, is that too much to ask? So I worked with Reebok and a bunch of their directors on retail experience, like what their core message was, how it shows up in the store. And that is what led me to the shoe.
Yeah.
So being in the like having a strategic partnership with them through the agency, we were sitting down having a conversation, and they were like, you know what, you should do a pack. And I was like, no, like, like, because I never was like, oh, I want my own shoe. Yeah. You know, I was never like that type of sneakerhead. But yeah, they were like, you should do a pack. And I was like, no, like, I don't think that's the answer. And you also don't want to be like, hey, here's the strategy, and the strategy is me. Yeah. You know, so it's like, yeah, I don't want to.
The farthest thing you want to be like, eventually get
like you do not want to just jump in there.
I will sell you sneakers.
On the first meeting. And I was like, no. And then the archivist, Erin, at the time, she was like, I want to bring you out a bunch of women's products. So she brought me out the Jazzercise stuff, and like, she brought out all the Iverson stuff for me because I'm a huge AI fan. Hey. And so she was like, don't you want to be part of this legacy? And when I saw the Iverson stuff and then Shaq, I was like, okay, like unexpected, disruptive, like, yeah, like if I was going to go with a brand, this would be the one that I felt closest at heart to. But I was like, I don't want to do a whole pack. Like, so I think it'd be better if you allow me to bring other women who are like me, who work in the business, but like aren't content creators. Yeah. And we can showcase like different ways to participate in sneaker culture as a career, as opposed to like an influencer. Yeah. And they were like, okay, we like that. And so they already had the It's a Man's World inline collection coming out, which was like an all white pair of like all the shoes that we did, but they were like all white takedowns. Yeah. And that inline pack was at like Foot Locker and DTLR, I think, and like, you know, like Foot Sites, etc. Yeah. And the collab packs were only available at Reebok.com. So we each did a different shoe. And they let us pick like what we wanted to do. So they weren't like, oh, you have to do this, which in this process, I knew already from interviewing designers, like a lot of times that is how it is. It's like, no, we want you, but like you have to use one of these 3 bullshit ass models that nobody wants to wear. Exactly. Because we need to sell these. Yeah, because this is what's in our program. We're bringing you in now, but 2 years ago, we decided that this was going to be the shoe of the moment. So if you want to work with us, you're going to do this. My experience was not like that. And I had a lot of control over it because it was important for me to produce to work with the PLM to produce the actual story of it, and to be like on the talent side of it. And so behind the scenes, one of the things was like, well, if I agree to do this, you're going to give me a woman of color designer on it to do all the shoes. Like she's going to work specifically with us. And they did. Shout out to Alejandra. Shout out. And she did all of our shoes for us. Yeah. And when it came to the design, once we picked the silhouette, they sent us like papers, you know, like blank, like coloring sheets basically of the shoe. And then they said like, put together as many pages as you want of a mood board. And like they hosted us for like 4 days at Reebok in Boston. We went there all together and sat with Alejandro like one at a time and like went through our mood boards. And then after we left, she kind of emailed us like what she had come up with basically from our mood boards and from what we had, kind of the notes we gave. And then we went back and forth from there as far as designing and then sampling. That's crazy. Yeah. Look, my mood board was 25 pages long. I was like, yeah, I'm a sicko. Like, you were like, I got an idea. Yeah. All right. Like everything, I dumped everything in my whole life in the mood board. I was like, yeah. See, this is a very long process. Yeah. It's like, people take it so for granted. Like, I know when I went to Portland, like I was seeing stuff too. And I was just like, yeah, this is like getting that actual insight when you are, I guess, I mean, I consider myself working within this, like, you know, so much of it goes unseen. Yeah. But so much of it should be told because
there's like, that's the only way you can inspire the next designer. That's the only way you can inspire the next person that's like marketing, the next, like these small little roles that lead to these big moments that we get to see and experience and be part of. And so like so many people want to experience the moment without actually like finding that you can actually be part of it. And it's like, I mean, I hope when people hear that, they feel inspired to be like, you know what? Let me start writing some stuff. Or, you know, like just trying to figure out a way.
My story.
Yeah.
And it's like a different time now. So I'm like, I'm really telling the girls, like, you can't just want to be talking about women in sneakers. Like, you need to niche it down. Like, who is your girl like that you're talking to? Because we all want to talk to women in sneakers today, right? And so I think like at the time it was like I was speaking for women and specifically speaking for women of color. And excuse me. And I think that like that became like the archetype, right, of like what my story was. And I think that is a lane, but there are so many other lanes because it's a competitive field out there, unfortunately, in the space.
Did you experience a lot of backlash or like people were not running with you because of that?
Many. And Punch from TDE was like one of the first people to tell me on the phone, like, sis, like, you got to chill the fuck out. Yeah. And what you're saying is not wrong, but the people that need to hear it, they're not listening to you because you just sound angry. And that taught me a lot. Like, oh, okay, like I have to speak in a way that these white men in this office are going to like receive it and be able to hear me and understand it because they just see me throwing a temper tantrum right now.
Interesting. That's a tough pill to swallow, to be honest, too. Like, it's like,
but I need I'm real as fuck like that with people too. So it's like, I need you to talk to me like that. Like, just be direct and tell me straight up what the problem is, you know? And I knew that, especially in my early 20s about my mouth, like that it can be flagrant at times. So I need to be chill.
Where'd you learn that from?
Maybe my single mom. I don't know. And my dad is a Panther. Like, so it's like, this is who I always been. And like, it's not going to stop now, you know?
I think we need more of that, to be honest. Like, you know, but it's also just like, my big thing is just like, it's a two-way street, you know? And like you said, you need people that also can get through to you too. Like, there's a lot of people that like, you'll come across and they'll just be like, my way or the highway type of people. And I'm just like, nah, there's two lanes on the highway. Yeah. Like, you know, you should be able to be receptive.
Well, at my shop, there's one lane. Just to be clear.
But it's just like, it's super interesting. Like, you know, your journey's super interesting.
The other thing I think I want to talk about with the pack, a bigger lesson that it taught me that I think a lot of people don't really pay attention to, or why I'm so very particular and intentional, as you said, about like where I show up, who I'm talking to, the conversations I'm involved in. When they allowed me to bring in, like, to choose the girls that would be in the pack with me, I brought in Distorted because she's like one of the first girls I ever mentored. Like, I found on the internet and then like reached out to her and really like kind of tried to help her along the way, known her for forever. And so I was like, I want her in the pack with me. Like, I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to give her, but a good thing for us to do together. And they were like, yeah, that's cool. Like, we're down. But when they first said okay and we were getting ready to sign her into the pack, like, she went crazy on Twitter. Like, she's known to like
go off.
Yeah, to go off. Like, this is not a new thing.
Yeah.
And I knew that, but like, I didn't think it would be a problem, you know? And so she's flagrantly going crazy on the timeline. And so my Reebok PLM calls me and is like, this is not okay. And like, we bring her in the pack, like, you're taking responsibility for her. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. So
I call her and I'm like, you gotta chill the fuck out. Like, you got me looking crazy. You know, and I was like, and they're gonna pull your shoe. Like, if you can't just shut the fuck up. Like, just shut up for a couple days. Like, that's it. Yeah. They're gonna take the shoe and all this is gonna fall apart. And she was like, okay, Jazz. And she's always been very receptive and she knows, you know, so it was like, she would like delete her Twitter. Like, she would like try to be proactive in it. But that taught me too, is like, you can't be just when one is like, I can't be nerd like Jazzy at night and be somebody else in the daytime. It's like, this is who I am everywhere I show up.
Yeah.
And when you have clients, you're working on projects, like, they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with all this mess and like the potential of you being a bad look for them. And
I mean, that's that. You got to have that awareness.
Yep.
And I don't think a lot of people on the internet have awareness.
No.
I do want to talk about like you getting into publishing.
Oh,
these
yes,
books.
the books.
You know, we've got sneakers.
sneakers illustrated by Rodrigo Corral from Jay-Z's Decoded.
Fire. These are amazing.
I'm in that one.
You in the People magazine?
I'm in the front cover. Open it up. It kind of opens up.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, right there.
That's crazy. I don't even remember when you worked with the M&Ms.
The green M&M.
The green M&M, yeah. That was sick.
Or green. You're supposed to just call her green, I learned.
We've got girls.
So that is like, kicks. This is like an antique book. Like this dropped in like 2008, but
2011.
Okay, 2011.
Yeah.
I did the interview in 2008, but Lori looked like from Female Sneaker Fiend.
Yeah.
Her and Jen Twice went all around the world and like photographed women in sneakers like way back then. And like, so a lot of girls that I know now were in this book, you know, like, so.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's a really like archival piece. So it's like, we were outside when people, you know, I might've been the only one in my town, but all of us were like the only one in our town. So. Yeah.
Oh man, this is sick. And then we also have the first pair, but like
Nike's the first pair.
Nike's the first pair.
Yeah.
But like helping, this is crazy. Sorry.
So I mentor Christina also.
I know, yeah.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
I love all the girls. Yeah. Like, but you know, I think a lot of people will tell you I have an eye for talent, and that's like my thing is like I want to get behind people that I believe in.
That's why I was asking about like that. Because
Christina, because it's like, as we heard in the space last night, it's not a lot of Black people in sneaker journalism.
Right.
And so when I left that space, I was like, oh my gosh, like what is going to happen to the space?
Mm-hmm.
And Christina is, you know, a young Black woman in publishing. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to stand with her and help support whatever she does.
No, yeah. I mean.
And the sneakers book, they found me on Instagram.
Yeah.
They like DM'd me on Instagram and they were like, hey, like we are the authors of this book. Like we want to interview you and hear your stories. So I have a 4-page spread in that book.
Well deserved.
Yeah. Thank you. And I let my son shoot me, so they have photo credits in the book too.
Oh,
I was like,
go.
everybody eats.
Everybody eats. Everybody eats. I mean, look, I had Zion on super early. Yeah. Shout out Zion, man. He's doing amazing things.
He's somebody's husband.
I know. Yeah. Look at that. You raised a husband.
It's family business, you know. Yeah. But speaking, I think we were talking a little bit ago about like, you know, have you experiencing like things in the office and the frustrations. It's like my son being in the business too.
Yeah.
Is not at Overtime, but he went to another sneaker organization after, not a brand, but little sneaker organization after Overtime. And he was working there for like 2 weeks. And he calls me on a Friday and he's like, they just talked to me crazy in front of everybody in the office. And he can't talk to me like that. I quit. And I was like, you can't just quit your job like because somebody talked to you crazy.
Yeah.
And that's like the hard part, I think, for me is when it's like, I don't want to normalize it, but it's also like, yeah, you're going to experience some of that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's okay or like, but you also can't just walk off the job because you didn't like the way somebody talked to you. Like, especially in this business, it's a lot of ego, we got a lot of young men, a lot of testosterone, a lot of ego wrapped up in it. So you're not going to have the greatest day every day working in this business.
No, yeah. The one thing I learned is that this industry is small and you're going to be running into the same people, you know, and the only advice I always give people is just like, as long as you treat people as you see them treat you, or as long as you treat people, the golden rule, as long as you treat people as you want to be treated, then that's gonna go longer than that one day when someone just like tears you a new one and you're like, why? And you're just like that. Yeah, it's just like you're gonna have to, down the road, you will end up their boss.
No, eventually. I tell people all the time, this is a relationships business.
Yeah.
People don't leave this industry. It's incestuous as fuck. They just move around. So the person that you know today at Converse, they're gonna be at New Balance in 10 years and
doing something
totally different.
Yeah, exactly.
And hopefully they've elevated just like you have. So
I mean, I appreciate that. But we're towards the end of the podcast. But Connor, we're gonna go a little bit long.
That's right.
All right, cool. Because I do want to read something.
Okay.
But we're at the end of the podcast, and it deals with a little visualization. So I want you to think back to young Jazz when she's about to open that box of the Converses. We're gonna go Converses.
Gosh, yeah.
And now you're older, you behind your younger self. What would you tell your younger self as she opens that box?
Save the shoes. not for the Converse. I probably was, but I think that enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
And live loud. That's something me and my sister always say is like live loud. And especially now, on the other side, I had a medical emergency. It's like I'm living loud as fuck now.
Yeah. So I've been asking people to write in. You can write into me, My First Kicks, your My First Kick story, info at My First Kicks. And I got one here by Jay Guidos, Jay Fire Fridays.
Yes.
He writes in, he says, I just had to share my sneaker story with you because it's a big part of why I love shoes so much. Growing up, most of my kicks came from Payless and Kmart. Honestly, I was just happy to have something on my feet. My parents always told me I'd get one pair a year, which meant I had to keep them clean and looking good. Things changed during middle school when I faced a tough time with bullying and trying to figure out who I was. As the shorter, chubby Hispanic kid, I really struggled to fit in. But everything turned around for me when I got my hands on a pair of all white Air Force Ones. Everybody at school had them and just knew I needed a pair too. I can still remember that fresh leather smell, the shiny silver Dubré, and how many Dickies hung perfectly over them. How my Dickies hung perfectly over them. Wearing those shoes made me feel like I could own any room and tackle any social challenges with newfound confidence. Outside of school, I was totally influenced by hip hop culture and shows like 106 in Park with AJ and Free. I loved how sneakers and style made a statement about who you are. I went through all kinds of sneaker phases, from Converses to Vans, Fat Farm, and even Airwalks. But my sneaker journey took a major turn when my little brother graduated high school. I struggled in school and was even close to getting kicked out. Mm-hmm. Then in 10th grade, I met a mentor who helped put me back on track. Fast forward to when my little brother asked for some new shoes, and it hit me hard, especially after they saw how much it took for me to graduate. I bought him a pair of Roshe Runs. And as I watched his face light up, I couldn't resist picking up a pair for myself. The excitement and joy we shared made me realize how much sneakers meant to me as a connection to my brothers. Over the years, I've learned that the real value of shoes isn't just in their style or brand, but in the stories and the people behind them. Now, my work with the youth feels like a full circle moment. Cleaning sneakers and having uplifting conversations fills me with hope and joy, allowing me to be the supportive voice I needed when I was younger. Through these connections, I hope to inspire the next generation, just like I was inspired. Thanks for letting me share my journey.
I love him and everything that he works, that he shares as he's working on. And I think it's those stories. I mean, like my story is very similar to that. And I know a ton of other people who have a very similar story too. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of like mental health wrapped up in why we do this.
Oh, for sure. I
And
call it out all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, sometimes like I always be like, yeah, retail therapy. Because
Mhm.
like there's nothing really like uplifts you more than just like you buy something brand new and you're just like, yo, this is a new thing.
Well, for me, it's like the shoes that I have that like remind me of certain moments in my life. So, like the shoes I was wearing when like I went into labor with my kids, like these. So when I go into my sneaker room, it's like, or like sneakers that my friends made, from years ago, or my misplaced checks from John, just like all these moments that I've had is like those things mean something to me as opposed to like whatever, I want the taxis bad. I bought them like 3 times already, but it's like, I need that. It's like that thing is still drives me. It's like, I still need them. Even though I know I'm probably not going to wear them a million times. It's like, I love them and I need them in my collection because they're missing. Like, so I think it's like, when it doesn't feel like that anymore, then I'll stop.
Yeah. Look, somebody's looking for these right now.
They really are. I mean, look, my man don't have a pair. He's like, why don't I? I'm like, I didn't know you were going to come along, after this. Like, so, I mean, I have 3 pairs, a 10 and a 10 and a half and a 6. So that's it.
I'm a 13. It's not.
Sorry. I had a 13, but the Baddest Shoe Museum bought it for their archive of Black designers.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. That's a perfect note.
Yeah.
You in a museum.
Yeah, that's right.
Let everybody know where to find you.
Nerd Like Jazzy.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
You back.
I'm back outside. Let my hair down on hose now. And on Twitter, Jazerai.
Yeah.
And truetosize.com.
Yes, please tap in. You're gonna see a lot more of Jazzy. You know, we outside. You know where to find me. Who is Hustle on social medias? Follow the podcast Mind First Kicks Pod. Follow Smooth the Source. She was in the audience. In
the one chair audience.
Yeah, the one chair audience. And I'm gonna kick it to myself to do Patreon shout outs and my outro. Peace.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode with Jazerai. Man, she is such a wealth of knowledge, her history within the sneaker industry. And also we touched a little bit about her involvement with BFF, Black Footwear Forum, which, you know, I went to this year. So we talked a little bit about that. And if you watch Muggsy's episode a couple weeks back, you get to hear a little bit more of like my experience there as well. But, you know, as I said in the beginning of this episode, I reached out to Jazerai super early on when I first started the podcast in the hopes of getting her on because Don Will, former guest Don Will of Tanya Morgan, worked with her at Kicks on Fire, my bad. And so it's like a story history. And so it was just like, you know, at first she told me no. And I was, you know, you kind of got to see if somebody is really about this or really going out to do what they're doing. And it really put that like battery in my back to make sure, you know, I learned how to like follow up with, you know, guests who I want to have on. And that's how Pete calls me Premium Pete calls me the king of follow-ups. Like it all started from Jazerai's no. Like, you know, I didn't really go really in depth with it, but I remember just kind of being like, damn, you know, this sucks. Like, it was one of like my first big no's because when I first started the podcast, I was getting like, yeah, I'd love to do it. It's such a great concept. And I had like I really honed into not what the pitch that I give now, but like my initial pitch, especially during the pandemic. A lot of people were like, yeah, it's just Zoom. I can just do it. Like, it's fine. And so, you know, my patience and me just wanting to get better and better. And I realized that her no was more of like I just want to see how far you go or get without, you know, me just jumping in the beginning and stuff like that. And I think that if you get to this part of the episode and you're listening, like, I've been saying this ever since this episode, like in my head, I've been saying like, there's going to be 100 no's before you get that initial yes. The initial yes is something that where you think that you're at a specific point in your career or you know, whatever your journey is, whether it be in sneakers, whether it be in any form of career, like my job in advertising, where it's just like, you're going to hear so many no's. You're going to do all these interviews and go for jobs and people are going to tell you you're not qualified and or like you're trying to interview people and then people are being like, oh, I've never heard of your podcast before. And that shouldn't deter you. That should really be a point of just like, okay, maybe I'm not out there enough. Maybe I'm not doing as much as I could do. And so, you know, I'll call back to Jazerai's no, where I was, when she told me no, I was just like, it's all good. Let me get my name out there and be part of this, be part of the community and be more active and be more, you know, a name that people can really, you know, think about when they think about sneakers. And so, or when they think about a sneaker podcast, or they think about podcasting in general. Like, I just tried my best to I always call it spray and pray. I just put all my stuff everywhere. And, you know, getting on people's radars it can be hard. I think we live in this current age of the internet where there is just so much of everything that you have to figure out ways to call attention to yourself, especially even if you're doing something that everybody else is passionate. Like, we all love sneakers. You can see if you go on Twitter, people are just constantly fighting every single day about sneakers. And it's all well and good as long as everybody's having fun and nobody's getting hurt. But, you still have to wade through the people that think you have to listen to their opinions. And if you don't listen to them, then, you're going to be outcasted. And it's just like, there's so many things that happen. And I think that happens in any sort of subculture. So when it comes to this podcast, what it represents, the people I talk to, the people I'm interested by, and the people that I want to sit in front of me, it always comes down to just my love for this, like my love for talking to y'all, my love for being in front of the camera, being in front of the guests, getting to know somebody. Like, I'm such an inquisitive person, and I feel like we live in a world where that can sometimes seem rare, which that's all fine because we're so used to just as soon as somebody says something, just Google it. And so it's hard to just kind of want to sit in front of somebody and have a really deep understanding of the person in front of you. And I do hope that y'all are getting that every time y'all tune in each week. And I know I'm getting a little bit longer with these outros. Last week, I did get a lot of props for what I was saying. And so, I appreciate every single one of y'all for tuning in because, this has been a long journey, but it's also been the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. And so I want y'all to understand that. And, this year, I had a conversation with Dee the other day, and I was just like, this year I really wanted to cement myself in this. I wanted people to really, mess with me, basically. And I went all in and kind of like went to a ton of events, did the thing and did the live podcast that did not go well. In terms of just like the recording, did not go up well online. And so just trying to build as much as I can around build this ecosystem. And so I really appreciate for everybody tuning in. And if you want to help out, you can always help out and go the extra mile by joining the Patreon at patreon.com/myfirstkicks. And of course, we got to do the Patreon shout outs. We've got Ross Adams. We got Adam Newstetter. We got Adam Butler. Shout out Adam Butler, MSR. And we've got Plox, more recent subscriber, of course. We've got Derek Lipkin, aka Fresh Poetic. We've got Jesse, Just CG. Shout out to you. And we got a new subscriber this week. Shout out Derek Hawkins. Man, we hung out at Accomplice Con a lot. We went to the steakhouse. And so I really appreciate you for hitting me up and letting me know, that like you've been checking out the podcast. And so, shout out to everybody that's supporting the podcast. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you share it. It really goes a long way. This is such a grassroots movement that it does really rely on anybody who's listening to this to just be like, yo, I heard you like such and such. Maybe you should check out this podcast. Like, find that common through line that I use. This is like, I use a through line to get to know the person. So find that common through line to kind of share the podcast, right? This week, Sockjig invited me to be on his podcast to talk a little bit about Complex Con. So I'll plug in that episode here because it's a really fun conversation. I think Sock does a really good job of just like solo podcast and like getting his points across. And whenever he's doing something that deals with a lot of information, he really digs himself into it. But this week we talked about Complex Con, my experience there. And I will say that I will be doing for the Patreon. It's going to be a Patreon only episode. I will put a teaser up. But me and AD, I think we're going to be doing a Complex Con recap episode. I will for the Patreon, and then we will also be doing I'm doing a BFF recap with Joe, Higher Living, right? Thoughts for the Soul podcast. That's my bro right there. We're doing that. We also still, Aaron, AD, we're going to sit down. We're going to do a recap of our Portland trip. since we were all together. And those 3 episodes will be going up on the Patreon. So you'd have to sign up at the $5 tier in order to get that. And I really appreciate y'all for tuning in this week. Hope you really enjoyed this conversation with Jazz. She's going to be back because we only touched on a little bit of her journey. So we definitely got to get her back. And now she's back outside. So be sure to follow her and be sure to check out everything that she's doing, because she's definitely going to be tapped in a lot. Man, it's good to see Nerd Like Jazzy is back. And of course, if you want to check out more of the podcast, I got 2 episodes for you right here. Subscribe to the podcast by hitting that button in the middle right there. And you know what we say each week: wear your kicks. Peace.